Yajong, hello, welcome back. If this is your first time, I appreciate you being here. My name is Bao, and I started this channel to share my life and experience being Hmong, Christian, and divorced. About a week or so after discovering the secret email and processing the events that happened after that, it became clear to me that I had married someone else at the altar. There were things that were falling into place. I, I was going back over, how we met, the things we had said and planned, even right up to the wedding, and finding that, a lot just didn't seem to match up. Like they were clicking, but they weren't fitting like a puzzle should. And so I was getting angry as I thought about these things, but I didn't even know that what I was feeling was anger, because I had never felt anything like that before. I felt like, well, what he did was he lied to me, and that is just the worst thing I've ever experienced. Being lied to is the most treacherous thing anyone can experience. And it really was that bad for me. What I came to realize, right, the revelation that kind of came to me as I was left alone to my own thoughts, because we weren't talking anymore now. Mind you, we're newlyweds, and 7, 8 months in, you're no longer talking to each other for days. And so I was left to think a lot and re examine, reanalyze. Oh boy. So I want to throw this out there that before marriage, I was never an overthinker. Again, because of my faith, right, and what I believed in, everything happens for a reason, a purpose. I still believe that. I do. But before marriage, I was very more black and white. It's like if something bad or good happened to me, okay, it happened for a reason. God allowed it to happen, and He has a plan and a purpose for me. I'm not going to dwell on something I can't control. All that young wisdom, by the way, like left me at some point after I got married. And so I didn't really dwell on things, right? Yeah, bad things happen. We're not exempt because we're Christian. And I can think about it, but I didn't dwell on it to a point where I was sleepless. And so after marriage and finding this stuff out and finding out that I was lied to, and then being left alone to think about these things, I picked up overthinking. And I'm regurgitating these thoughts. They're just repeating themselves in my head. Round and round the questions go, and I don't have answers. There's no one that I can talk to. And another term that I also picked up and learned after divorce is stonewalling. Very early on, this was what he had done, and I, of course, had no word for it to describe it. I just knew that I did not like it. Like, I absolutely hate this stonewalling thing. And when I would go to him to talk about anything, through his body language, he was telling me that I don't want to talk to you, I don't want to hear you, I don't want to listen to you, I'm not going to give you my time. You can talk, but I'm not going to respond because I'm tuning you out. And that's what had happened. I'm talking to him, and I'm not even shouting, just normal conversations. I'm asking questions, but not getting any responses back. He'll answer only when I become aggravated in my voice. And then at that point it's like, why even bother? Now we're both just mad. And so go through that a few times, right? Several times over a number of days or weeks. I picked up and I was conditioned to just stop going to him to talk about anything, because why bother, right? I'm not going to get any response. I'm not going to get any reaction. I'm not going to get any conversation, right? No interaction by another human being living in the same space I was. And so I became very introverted and just kept to myself and did things on my own. And I talked to myself and I asked the questions to my mind and just waited for God to answer. I talked to God a lot. Boy, did I talk to God a lot. But um, I had a lot of unanswered questions. So those caused me to just be angry and stay angry, but under control because life had to go on. Bills had to get paid, and I couldn't just walk off a job. I was very pregnant. So what I was, or what came to me as a revelation about why he chose me, why he married me, made me even more angry because at the time, young men and women 20 plus years ago, we all had this pressure to get married by X number of age. Um, and I didn't feel that pressure. Like I said before, I could have remained single if I wanted to, except for that tiny seed that said, hey, if you found someone that loves God as much as you do, two are better than one. And if it wasn't for that idea in my head, I would not have pursued marriage. But I did. And when it happened, I just thought it was so perfect. I had waited. I was never in any serious relationships, and no one ever wanted to go out with me. No one asked me out. And I wasn't bold enough to approach my crushes in high school or whatever. And so when he came along, all I could think of was, oh, wow, God, you're delivering. All of my prayers on waiting and being patient is paid off. But that's not how he saw me. The short version of it is he saw just a golden goose ready for the plucking, and I'll tell you why. Because when he came across my path, I was getting close to done with college. He was also getting done with his JD, and 20 plus years ago, someone with a higher education was very well sought after. It was very admirable and very desirable in having as a son-in-law or a daughter-in-law. And so with the both of us pursuing higher education, it would have been a good match. Um, I mean, my reasons for it, right? The bigger picture and the goal that I had for that requires financial backing. And so um, having careers that could do that was important to me. But he saw it a little differently. So, just really brief on his family. From what I gained from hearing him talk about them a lot and often, is their pride in who they were, where they came from his grandfather, the things that he had done, and the things his father had done during the military years of the Vietnam War and all that stuff. And so I, I, I realized that he's very proud of his family, which is fine. I'm proud of my family too. Um, but not only were they very proud, almost a little bit over the top, in my opinion, and they were also they also had a lot of high expectations for their children, um, especially the boys, because they're the ones that would carry the line, etc., etc. And his parents had a particular ideal for how they wanted their daughter-in-laws to look, to behave, um, to act, and that's what he was looking for. He was looking for someone that, because all of his life he wanted to please them, he wanted to be the good son. He didn't want to be the one that caused them any grief, and so being the eldest, he was very obedient to his parents. Um, and so what he was looking for um, in a wife was someone that his parents would also be pleased with. And so at the time now, he's almost done with his JD and he's got no wife prospect in sight. And so when he came across my path, it was just like, my goodness, it must have been just too good to be true for him that here I am, this young girl, um, full of ideals and didn't do anything bad, had no mar on her reputation, was the pride of her parents as well in the things that I had accomplished for myself. But a plus to me is, well, my parents are also well respected in the community, in church as well as outside of it. And that was a plus to his family, to his parents, because yeah, no one talks about this, but in-laws, they like in-laws. And there are in-laws that don't like the other in-laws. And that's because they base that on the child's reputation. The past that a child has had is somehow a direct reflection of the parents. And we grew up with this mindset, with this teaching that the things we do impact our parents' reputation. And excuse me. So that has a lot to do with how we behave and how we carry ourselves, whether we care or not. Um, I, for one, was a person that cared because I didn't have any sisters. I remember one time asking my parents if they could ship me off to live with my uncle and finish my senior year there. Can you imagine that? They couldn't. And they told me no, because only bad girls and bad boys get sent to live with relatives in the middle of the school year. And so for me, I just wanted to leave the area. I just got tired. I wanted to see the world. I wanted to see a different community. And that was why I asked for it. But they were like, no, we don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. Even at the time, several mysterious young men and women would just show up at church or show up in the community without their parents. And the rumor or gossips would just go about them. And so that was something that was impressed upon us as young men and women in this culture. But like I said, I didn't have any sisters. I don't have any sisters, so the way that I carried myself was important. And it wasn't just for my parents, but it was for me too. I wanted that for myself. Like I said, I just wanted to do things right. I didn't want to be an embarrassment um, for them, but as well as for myself. I didn't want any skeletons in my closet. I didn't want anything following me that would embarrass me later. And so I just did everything right. I wanted to do everything right. And so my parents were well respected, and I myself was building up a reputation for myself on my own merit. I used to sing a lot, and so a lot of people, a lot of churches knew me in the tri state area of the Northeast, and I sang at conferences, and so people knew me for myself. So to him, like, wow, having in laws that are well respected is a plus. And now to have a wife that is also popular and well known is a plus. She's also in college and she's got goals. And then when she accomplishes those goals, it's going to be plus plus because now I'm just going to keep bringing in pride into the family. I will be an accomplished daughter in law. Um, that the community will notice and that I am with this clan, with this family. I am married in this family. And so he was marrying me to please his parents. That was what I came to understand. I don't know that he liked anything about me personally. Well, I think I can say that he came to dislike who I am after everything started going south. Um, and I wasn't what he thought he was marrying. So he married me to please his parents. He married me to boost their reputation as well as his. And that's what I was to him. He even went so far as to call me a trophy wife, his trophy wife, because everything that I was bringing to the table was awesome, you know? And so he did call me that. At the time, I thought it was just something he was trying to be cute about, maybe flattering about. I know the term, I read it, I hear about it, watch it in movies. But I didn't understand that at the time, that's exactly what he saw me as, is just a trophy wife. And he didn't expect a trophy wife to have opinions of her own, to have a voice that objects. And yeah, so I don't know. I said all the things that I was to him. I was honest about my character. But again, another revelation was that during the course of our courtship, he wasn't paying any attention to what I was saying. He was just seeing all of the checks and all of the pluses that I was going to bring him and his parents, and did not pay a single attention to the things that I was saying, the things that mattered to me, the expectations that I wanted to see and that I had. And so when it came time to follow through with what we both said, I could do what I said I was going to do. But for him, it was different because he had lied right up until he could get me to the altar. And now, after that, he didn't think far enough about how he was going to continue to lie and keep those lies, and or even think about how I was going to react once I discovered those lies, and how he was going to explain away those lies, which I never got. So, yeah. I will see you guys next time. Shinjiro.